Hey, what's going on, you guys? Hey, welcome back to another episode with iTrek. Big shout out to all the iTrek fam that has just tapped in, man. I appreciate you guys. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. So I've made it to 126,000 subscribers, man. I do appreciate each and every one of you guys. And for all the brand new fam that have just tapped in, today I got something special for you. I got a brand new episode on the front and a classic on the back so you get all caught up. And if this is your first time here, what we like to do is take a look at the most interesting and creepy videos. If you haven't already, smash that like button for me. Smash that subscribe button. Join the iTrek fam if you haven't already. Now let's not even waste any more time. Let's jump straight into it.
Things I wished I never learned. If you burn alive, your eyeballs melt out of your head, but you'll still be conscious and aware of what's happening. When you use bleach without gloves and your hands get all slimy, that's your skin melting off. Mummies used to not be rare at all until British people ate most of them. You're more likely to be bit while walking around New York by a person than by a shark in the ocean, and human bites are one of the most deadly. If you're married to a man, there's a 1 in 5 chance that he'll leave you if you get extremely sick. There's enough water pockets in your toilet piping for rats and snakes to swim up, and people's no-no parts have been bitten off.
Now, too many of those facts might leave you depressed or a little scared. I don't know. Let me know what you think, though.
I think the first curse that I had put on me in New Orleans by a hoodoo practitioner, St. Elias, after that working, the energy in the room was really palpable. It's really hard to get on camera. The energy that we were all feeling. And right after that, I was feeling, what on earth have I done? And I know my crew were definitely worried that something had just changed. We'd passed over a point of no return, because right after that, St. Elias offered the crew, would you like some cleansing lotion? And one of my camera ops, Sam, could not grab this bottle fast enough. And I just saw him pouring it all over himself and just rubbing it over everything. And he was just definitely did not want that negative energy on him. And I don't blame him.
You've either got to be mentally ill or completely bored with life if you want to sit around and get cursed just to see how it feels or go through the experience just to have the experience. That's just insane. They ain't completely insane.
Die from the world's deadliest poisons. Black cone snail venom. One tiny sting and it's over. Your muscles shut down, your lungs freeze, and yet your brain stays wide awake. You suffocate slowly, trapped inside your own body. Ricin, just a single drop in your coffee and hell begins. Vomiting, diarrhea, unstoppable internal bleeding. Your organs start melting from the inside and death takes days to finally arrive. Polonium-210. You swallow a dose smaller than a grain of sand. Your bone marrow collapses, your organs rot, and your body turns into a glowing shell of radiation and decay.
Schopenhauer believed that the more a person understands human nature, the harder it is for them to relate to others. They see through lies and deception. Most social interactions involve small talk, status games, and polite dishonesty. And deep thinkers who value truth over appearance often struggle to participate in this.
I find it kind of hard to disagree with that. I mean, once you have a complete understanding of how life is played and the games that are played, you generally don't want to play them or be around the people that like to play them. Let me know what you think.
YouTubers who recorded their last moments, part 31. She posted this video, acting like it was a fake head of her best friend. But when the police realized she was missing, they searched her home and found her best friend chopped up in a freezer. This dog is actually a skinwalker. The owner knew something was off, so she recorded a video of the dog standing up, and that's when she realized it wasn't a real dog. They were driving down a remote road when they saw a girl walking toward them, but staying the same distance away. No matter how much she walked, she didn't get any closer or further.
Switzerland are quietly preparing for the end of the world. They've been hustling for decades. You wouldn't know it by just looking at them, but underneath around 60% of the Swiss Alps, they've built a city of doomsday bunkers that can protect hundreds of thousands of people in a catastrophic event. In fact, Switzerland is the only country in the world that can house their entire population, 8.7 million people, in a secure bunker. And they're not just old, forgotten World War II structures slowly crumbling away. They are continuously updated and restocked with supplies till this day. You see, Switzerland decided they needed to, excuse the pun, lock in after Germany promised to not invade them during World War II. They not only transformed the peaceful Swiss Alps into an absolute fortress and rigged it with enough explosives to collapse entire mountainsides, but the Swiss government also made it a law for homes, schools, hospitals, and other public buildings to install protective shelters, and that policy remains till this day, meaning meaning the entire country is designed in a way that wherever you go, whether it's a restaurant, a park, or a friend's house, there's always a doomsday bunker nearby. According to official figures, Switzerland currently has around 300,000 bunkers across the country, which can accommodate roughly 9.3 million people. That's over 500,000 more than the country's current population. And once they're safely inside, they can even remotely detonate things like roads, bridges, tunnels, and railways to keep out invaders, or I guess, the unprepared.
Yeah, I like the way they think. I mean, I wish every country was thinking like that.
Recent Discoveries, Part 2. Renovations at a church in Naples, Italy in 2024 uncovered a hidden painting of St. George slaying a dragon behind a 16th century artwork titled Life of San Severo. This discovery offers new perspectives on Renaissance art layering and religious iconography. In 2025, over 100 books, manuscripts, and documents around 1,200 years old were found untouched in the attic of a Romanian church, containing lost information about Transylvania's history during medieval times. In 2024, archaeologists discovered a perfectly intact 1,500-year-old arrow nestled between rocks in Norway, believed to have been preserved in ice and transported downslope during glacial melting. In early 2025, a linguistic study revealed that winter workers in isolated parts of Australia are developing an entirely new accent due to months of close contact with each other, separate from other communities. Also in 2025, fossilized footprints dating between 21,000 and 23,000 years old were found in New Mexico, suggesting humans arrived in southern North America approximately 10,000 years earlier than previously thought.
What is that?
No! Fuck is it? Dude, no! It looks like a person, man. But no person. It looks like a fucking person. Stop. I need a person. I need a person. Ah! It just keeps getting up and down, up and down. Stop! Fuck, I can't run. Ah! Somebody drive by, somebody drive by.
Although it may be hard to tell, once it follows to the edge of the tree line, you can see it in a crouched position and seemingly stand up on two legs.
Our multiverse is a holographic, universal Templar complex created 950 billion years ago by the intention of Source God, which projected its consciousness to create the polarized reality fields of our time matrix. Learn about the 15 dimensions, which are manifest into 5 universes of matter density, such as carbon matter, etheric matter, hydroplasmic pre-matter. Learn about parallel Earth, inner Earth, adjacent Earths. Learn about the existence of multidimensional extraterrestrial races, including positive guardian alien races and negative fallen angelic alien races, indigo children holy grail bloodlines, the 12 tribes of angelic human bloodlines, Anunnaki races, and reptilian races. Download this diagram right now. Link is in the description.
What if the sun is conscious? Plato described the world as a, quote, living creature with soul and reason, and referred to celestial bodies as, quote, visible gods. In some cultures, the sun itself was a god, like Sol, and in others a goddess, like Sunna. In God's Day of Judgment, Douglas Vogt argued that stars are modulation points where higher dimensional information enters our realm. This interestingly aligns with occult astrology, such as that espoused by Christopher Warnock, which saw stars as intelligent intermediaries between the physical world and the divine world. Sounds crazy, but the idea of sentient plasma, which stars are made of, is a scientifically acknowledged phenomenon, as can be observed from studies published in the Journal of Modern Physics. In Light Quest, Andrew Collins argues that some types of higher dimensional intelligences can take the form of sentient plasma, and how this concept is not new and has been present throughout history. He frequently cites indigenous tribes who held rituals where they aimed to communicate with these plasma entities. Biologist Rupert Sheldrake in Is the Sun Conscious also suggests that the sun's electromagnetic complexities could be the physical basis for a, quote, solar mind, similar to brain activity. Follow me for more hidden knowledge.
I told you that there was a company called Palantir, and their entire existence was to hear your whispers so they could predict what you would do next. Now, what if I told you it was backed by the founder of PayPal and the CIA? What if I told you Palantir was quietly connected to your bank statements, social media, medical records, and a lot more? Then what if I told you their entire purpose was to understand and blueprint your life so they could predict exactly what you do next? If you want to know what that's called, it's called behavior surveillance. Like that grocery receipt from the time you went to the store at 11 p.m. We can't forget about that sudden change in your jogging pattern outside. They won't. Or your 3 a.m. Google search. You see, Palantir sends your personality anomalies directly to the government because you unknowingly gave them that right in the terms and agreements that you didn't read. Palantir isn't just surveillance, it's predictive governance. Control the data, control the decisions. Well, at that point, you can basically control anyone without them knowing that you're doing so. Palantir wasn't profitable for the first 17 years, and now their net worth is the same as Bank of America. And like I said, you gave them this ability when you did terms and agreements and didn't read it, gym memberships, and most of the smart devices that are in your home. Palantir is no longer a company. It is now a digital nervous system that takes care of the oh so fragile and insecure American people. The next time your thoughts shift or a new cycle tells you what to believe, ask yourself, is this really my decision?
You know, the first time I actually realized that they were tracking all of our data, all of our movements, what we buy, and everything else was when I read the book 5 Hour Work Week. In that book, it even discusses how even your little rewards card to all your supermarkets that you use to get your little discount, they're using that to track what you buy, when you buy it, and it's kind of creepy. And they've been doing it since forever. That's the whole reason why they even started that program. So it's been going on for a while, and he hasn't told any lies. It's pretty creepy.
Phillip K Dick somehow thought it was a good idea to take massive amounts of amphetamines while writing science fiction. It made him insanely productive. In 5 years, he wrote 16 novels, but it wreaked havoc on his body and it messed with his mind. He became convinced that a necklace worn by a delivery person shot out a magic pink laser beam that gave him psychic powers. He spent the next 10 years writing an insane 8,000-page journal describing the information he got from the magic pink laser beam. Then, after spending his entire life on the brink of poverty, he hit pay dirt when Hollywood adapted his works into hit movies like Blade Runner, Minority Report, and Total Recall. But by then, drugs had wiped him out. He dropped dead of a stroke before any of those movies opened. Get Human History on Drugs for more fascinating true stories.
The risk definitely didn't outweigh the reward. What good is it to sow the seed if you're not able to bear the fruits, man? He's out of here. And some of those movies are pretty good. I actually like Minority Report.
Is it possible that we are on the brink of an all-out zombie outbreak without anyone realizing it? A couple weeks ago, I talked about how Colorado residents were a little concerned after seeing rabbits in their yards that had warts and tentacles sticking out of their faces due to a viral infection. The residents were assured that the infection could not spread to other animals, pets, or humans, but coincidentally, only a few weeks later, people in the US and Canada began to witness squirrels with similar symptoms, having warts all over their bodies due to a strange infection. They've nicknamed them zombie squirrels, and people have also pointed out how they and the rabbits scarily remind them of The Last of Us, which, if you don't know, is a game about a viral infection that comes through funguses. Keep that in mind. Moving over to humans, cases of Candida auris have tripled due to a deadly fungus that has been spreading across the United States. What's so bad about this fungus is that it's already built up a resistance to any medication that was meant to fight it. It's actually so resistant to the medication that doctors are saying if you get infected with this pathogen that has no treatment, then there's nothing they can do to help you, you're on your own. We've seen the CDC release a zombie preparedness guide on what to do and how to prepare for a zombie apocalypse. We know that billionaires are building bunkers en masse, and if this fungus, which is already resistant to all of our medications, decides to mutate and get stronger, who knows what will happen.
We've got some breaking news out of Egypt. Archaeologists have just lifted massive statues from the ruins of a sunken city off the coast of Alexandria. and what they have found so far is fascinating. Among these discoveries, divers have recovered a sphinx bearing the cartouche of Pharaoh Ramses II, granite statues from the late Ptolemaic period, a white marble Roman nobleman, 2 headless Ptolemaic Greek figures. And keep in mind, these pieces have been hidden beneath the Mediterranean for over 2,000 years now. That is insane. This site is believed to be the lost city of Canopus, which was a thriving port during the Ptolemaic period and the Roman era that sank after earthquakes and tidal waves took it out. Alongside these statues, archaeologists have also spotted remnants of merchant ships, stone anchors, and even what looks to be ancient machinery, all still resting on the seabed. What's cool is this isn't the first city to emerge from this bay. Heracleion and Cleopatra's Island Palace have also been found nearby. And this is where my mind starts going here. Every time we recover a lost city, it feels less like we're finding the past and more like the past is finding us. Think about Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, buried for millennia with no clear reason, or the pyramids, the megaliths, where the engineering still puzzles us today. And now Alexandria's underwater ruins are rising again. It's almost like it's sending us a message. Let me know, do you think ancient ruins like this are sending us a message? If so, let me know what it is.
Nah, I just think we've been doing a lot more research, and now we have the technology to do a lot more digging, and we know where to dig, so we've just been finding a lot of the artifacts from the past. But let me know what you think.
Border agents just searched a record 15,000 phones without a warrant. And when you're at the border, your constitutional rights are basically meaningless. What's terrifying, they claim limitless authority to search any device, even for U.S. citizens. Courts have ruled that they can legally force you to unlock your phone with your face or fingerprint, but they cannot legally compel you to reveal your passcode. For visitors, the choice is simple. Comply or you're denied entry. For U.S. citizens, it's murky. You can't be denied re-entry, but if you refuse a search, they can seize your devices and detain you for questioning. This is why experts now give this advice. Before you cross the border, turn off your Face ID and Touch ID and use a strong passcode. Because at the U.S. border, the only right to privacy you have is the one you can technically enforce yourself.
I learned that what they are pretending is scientific research is actually directed energy weapons platforms. One of the more concerning ones contemporarily would be things like voice-to-skull technology. Voice-to-skull technology would be the ability to have what I call intrusive thoughts, a voice in your head. Like imagine if I had a microphone and I could transmit, but the receiver was in your head. So now if I had the ability to mimic your voice and deliver that to you, I can now start putting my thoughts into your head.
How often is this happening?
I'm concerned that it's been an ongoing activity for a couple of decades now to the general population of this planet. I think that the Neuralink is a distraction, and it gives the false pretense that you need some sort of hardware installed to make that connection. I do not believe that Neuralink is required. I wholly believe in the potential for there to be a massive amount of technology that could be applied that for all practical purposes to the average person on this planet would be very convincing that something off-world is coming on-world.
An alien false flag.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe that could happen?
Absolutely. I think it's going to happen probably pretty soon. It'll be similar to when 9/11 got us the Patriot Act. We lost a lot of rights when 9/11 occurred.
We sure
did. This isn't the first time. This is now the third report of a white shark going into one of these lakes.
Did someone get it on video? Because if not, it's not true.
Not only is there video, there's probably the best ever video of crystal clear water with this great white shark in it. Kyle, play the video.
Where is this?
Yeah, how insane is that?
That's water that you go into. You can see the bottom. That's crazy. And you go, I know there's not a shark in here.
That's
like 3 feet of water.
Now, here's the good thing. I know we've just done the big ooga booga scaries. That's a little baby shark.
That's juvenile.
That's like probably a 5 foot, maybe 6 foot great white shark.
So as big as me.
Researchers did an experiment with mice and found that when you give them the fake sugars that are in like a Diet Coke, it not only affects them, but it affects their children all the way to their grandchildren. When the mice were given the fake sugar, they developed memory and learning problems. When they had kids, their kids had those same problems and their grandkids had higher anxiety. You think this happens because fake sugars can make marks on your genes that get passed down through sperm? And while there's no proof yet, to my understanding, there's no proof yet that it affects humans in the same exact way where it affects multiple generations, it does affect mood, headaches, and learning in some individuals. And I feel like that should be brought up a little more.
Oh, hey again. So you know when you like share stuff online and then you inevitably get comments of people calling you a crazy conspiracy theorist and it's not possible that the government could do such a thing? And sometimes just in my leisure reading I like to read US patents, don't you? So if you just go to the deep state machine that we call Google, just look up US patent number 6470214. Oh, what do you know? Directed energy weapon, targeted individual patents from the year 2000, pulsative manipulation of central nervous system. Published in 2002, method and device for producing a desired brain state via magnetic waves. And this fun one from 2013 has 4 different assignees, controls brain state by placing engineered EMF patterns into the AC wiring of a building. And from 2014, induced desired brain state in person by adding waves into a music file. And from the year 2000, induces desired emotional state through an EMF, sleeplessness, sexual arousal. 2015, monitors vital signs of subject via remote application of radar waves, handheld. And then here's one from 2002. Remotely transmit intelligible subjective sound into targeted consciousness. Voice to skull. Oh, and who's the original assignee? The United States Air Force. And so, would the U.S. deep state government use such patents?
Hey, he gave the clear patent to look up, man. It's time to do some homework.
This blue dragon is so poisonous it shut down 7 miles of a beach in Spain. It's actually a sea slug called the Glaucus atlanticus, and it's only 1.5 inches long. And if it stings you, it can cause intense pain, kind of like a very strong jellyfish sting. It usually floats on the ocean surface, but 2 were found on a beach in Spain, causing the local mayor to shut it down and tell people to stay away. Its secret weapon is its ability to absorb the venom of the creatures that it eats and concentrate it, making its sting potentially more painful than the creature that it's eaten. And its main prey is the Portuguese man-o-war. So if you're heading to the beach, know these are circumglobal creatures but prefer warmer temperatures. And as global warming has shifted ocean temperatures, they've been found outside their normal habitat, last year on the Gulf Coast of Texas.
In Quintana Roo, Mexico, there is a science park that challenges the laws of nature where water seems to rise instead of fall, and every step feels reversed so that walking uphill becomes walking down and walking down becomes walking up. The houses are designed in a way that makes you feel completely inverted, and your senses struggle to understand what is real beyond the illusions. The park invites visitors to experience adventure, sliding down tall ramps, flying through the air on a Superman-style zipline, and finally slowing down while floating in a river of mud.
3 Great Pyramids of Giza are laid out on the ground in the pattern of the 3 stars of Orion's belt. And then when we work precession into the equation, we find that they're not laid out in the pattern of Orion's belt as it looked in 2500 BC when the pyramids are supposed to have been built. They're laid out in the pattern of Orion's belt in 10,500 BC, 12,500 years ago. So it's like a marker speaking to that age, just as Pillar 43 at Göbekli Tepe.
I can actually see it happen twice, right here and right here.
In the footage, Beyonce moves through a take as normal, but when slowed down, certain frames appear to show her face changing shape, almost morphing into something demonic.
I'm gonna slow it down. Here we go. Right there. And there. Let me know what you think.
The eerie effect has sparked a wave of speculation across social media, with conspiracy forums digging back into years of accusations, secret society rumors, and supposed hidden truths about the singer.
I can actually see it happen twice, right here and right here.
Like, I went with this one guy, and he just, like, he looked like a lizard. Like, I was so scared. Like, he was sitting there, and I turned him, I was like, oh my God. I was like, holy shit, he looks just like a lizard, and I had to go. It was really bad.
So you just left? Wow.
Immediately.
See, back then when she said lizard, people didn't really connect the dots on that. Nowadays, we understand she was looking at one of those reptilian, and I bet she was completely spooked, judging by the way she said it.
Did you know that lobsters are biologically immortal? Like, if you were a lobster, as long as you had enough food and nothing ate you, you could just keep growing and growing, and you'd never die. Which is how we end up with specimens like Big George, who lived to at least 140 years old. Please kill me! The only reason lobsters do eventually die is because every now and then their soft insides get too big for their hard outsides. So they have to molt their exoskeletons. Trouble is, the bigger the lobster, the more energy this takes. So at some point it just becomes too much effort and they just die. Okay, so how do lobsters not age? Well look, this is a human cell. After like 40 divisions, these cells just give up and stop replicating. Lobster cells don't do this, they keep going. Why? Well, on the end of chromosomes there are these things called telomeres, and every time a cell divides, these telomeres are cut, so eventually they just get too short and can't be copied anymore. But lobsters have a special enzyme called telomerase that can heal those telomeres, allowing the cells to replicate infinitely, so they basically never age.
The cockroach of the sea is what they really are.
Owls are some weird animals. First off, this is what they look like without feathers. That doesn't even look like it's from Earth. That looks like a gremlin. On top of that, they also don't have eyeballs. They have what are called eye tubes. Like their eyes are literally tubes that run into the back of their head. You can actually see their eyes through their ears. That feels weird to say out loud. They can also fly completely silent. Not quiet, silent. And that's because they have sound-reducing serrated feathers and pockets in their wings that absorb the excess sound frequencies. That's how they're able to do things like this without getting spotted. They literally just come out at night and sneak up behind things that never see or hear them coming. That sounds really familiar.
Looking at Bill Cosby and Richard Pryor.
I always felt like the Wayans were the originators of a lot of the comedy, a lot of TV shows. They were like one of the first families to really do it. Yeah. But they don't get the credit for it. What's the aim?
I don't like what they did to Marlon. It's just you see a lot of the perversion in his movies. You see the perversion in the movies.
But who pushed that narrative, though?
What I'm telling you is, bro, he's showing his ass in every fucking movie, bro. It's not... I know Marlon. I don't know the joke. I don't know Marlon Wayans to show his ass in every movie. I'm not on every movie set, but I didn't know Marlon Wayans to show his booty. He was just over here, out here, in the airport, and ran up on me like he was a stick-up boy from Brooklyn. I was like, yo, what the fuck's going on? She was like, yo, you talking all this shit? You talking all that shit?
To this day, every Apple computer includes a tiny little fuck you directed at the Beatles. Okay, so in 1968, the Beatles founded a company called Apple Corps to serve as the band's parent corporation and record label. Then, in 1976, Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and Ronald Wayne founded the Apple Computer Company. And by 1978, they were being sued by the Beatles' Apple Corps over the trademarks to the name Apple. The two companies settled that first lawsuit, with Apple Computers paying $80,000 to the Beatles, and they mutually agreed Apple Computers wouldn't make music, and Apple Corps wouldn't make computers. But then, in 1986, Apple Computers added MIDI tech and audio recording capabilities to its computers, and so Apple Corps sued them again. This lawsuit would stretch on until 1991. And during that time, Apple Computers was developing its System 7 operating system, which included, for the first time, the Sound Manager and this sound effect. Let's hear that one more time. Its sound designer, Jim Reeks, wanted to call it Chime, but Apple Computer's legal department was being really cautious about not angering the Beatles further. So it told Jim Reeks the sound could not be called anything even remotely musical. So he came up with an alternative. He wanted to call the sound effect Let It Beep. His coworkers thought that was funny, but he didn't think he would get away with it. So instead, he named the sound Sosumi. S-O-S-U-M-I. A not so subtle way of saying so sue me. Here's what Reeks told Boing Boing in 2005 after he titled the sound Sosumi. He, quote, asked his boss to return the message to legal, but to not use voicemail since she'd have to pronounce it, and instead send an email with some story about it being Japanese and not meaning anything musical. That worked. The sound got the name Sosumi, and it stayed that way until 2020, when Apple changed it to Sonumi to mark a new operating system. But the file itself, inside your computer's folders, is still called sosumi.aiff, a very subtle dig at the Beatles.
We live in 4 dimensions, but can see 3. How many dimensions are there? Einstein says we live in a 4-dimensional world. We can go forward, backward, left, right, up, down, and the 4th dimension is time. But now we're beyond Einstein, and we have to go beyond 4 dimensions to perhaps, let's say, 10, 11 dimensions. But where are these other dimensions? We think they have curled up. They're so small that you cannot enter them, but perhaps we can feel their effects. And where is this other dimension? It is off the plane of your universe. Perhaps a parallel universe hovering right above your universe in another dimension that we cannot see or touch, but perhaps there's a gateway connecting them. That gateway is the wormhole. It was Einstein himself in 1935 who introduced the concept of a wormhole, a gateway between higher dimensional universes.
This feels like it should have been common sense, but for some reason I never thought about it. This is how long fire hydrants actually are under the surface. I don't even know if I needed to know. I also just found out that there is a lake in Denmark that is shaped like a map of the world that's been handcrafted by one man for the last 25 years. Michael Jackson was 25 years, 4 months, and 29 days old when his hair caught fire while filming a Pepsi commercial. He died exactly 25 years, 4 months, and 29 days later, making that the moment as the exact midpoint of his life. The world's only blue McDonald's exists just because yellow signs are banned in Sedona, Arizona. Since 1980, California has built 22 prisons, but only 1 university. Sweden is apparently so good at waste management that it imports waste from other countries just to keep its plants running. Over 80% of the world has never been on an airplane. There is a man who visited every country on Earth without ever getting on an airplane, and it took him 10 years to do it.
Hey, Sweden seems to be doing a whole lot right. And that guy that traveled the whole world without using a plane, kudos to him. But 10 years is a long time, I ain't gonna lie.
The thing that really keeps me up at night is the mystery of Albert Einstein's last words. Einstein was born on March 14th, 1879, and for the first 4 years of his life, his parents were pretty concerned because he never spoke out loud. Until one day, while at the dinner table, he looked up at his family and said, "This soup is too hot." His parents, obviously shocked that their child had chosen to speak, asked him why he had never spoken before, and he replied, because up until now, everything had been in order. Personally, I think it's a pretty funny line from the man who would go on to change humanity's understanding of the universe, and the fact that he spent the first 3 to 4 years of his life just quietly observing probably played a huge role in that. After general relativity and special relativity and proving the existence of atoms, Einstein spent the last 30 years of his life unsuccessfully trying to come up with a theory of everything. One single framework that explained how all of the fundamental forces of the universe work together. While on his deathbed, a nurse came in to check on him, to whom he said his final words, except they were in German, which she didn't understand and couldn't recall.
If Einstein didn't speak until he was about 4, I'm sure his parents really thought he was a mute, you know? It kind of gives you the understanding you have to let life play out. You just don't know. There are like basic parameters of how things should go, but it doesn't mean those are always exact.
To this arrangement, Rife and Casti have become the legal guardians of the entire Warren artifact collection, over 750 pieces, including the infamous Annabelle doll, for a minimum of 5 years. Though they now control the property, ownership of the artifacts remains with the Warren estate. This haunting acquisition comes just weeks after the unexpected death of Dan Rivera, a seasoned paranormal investigator and longtime caretaker of Annabelle. Rivera passed away suddenly while touring with the doll, a development that stunned the paranormal community and added a chilling prelude to Rife's announcement.
The issue is that when you turn the TV off, feng shui wise, the TV also acts as a mirror, so you have to be really careful because it also becomes a reflective surface, and you don't want any mirrors that reflect the bed. Damn it! Wow. So that's the thing. So you can have the TV there, but when you go to bed, I would actually cover it. I would get like a shawl, or I would get like a sheet or something, put something over the top of the TV because it does act like a mirror unless you have an extremely matte screen.
And what does that do?
Why do we not want mirrors?
You don't want any mirrors in the bedroom that reflect the bed or that you can see yourself in or that actually show the bed. So for example, like if you were a single person, it like doubles your loneliness. And if you're a couple, it's actually like inviting extra people into the bed.
Whoa.
Yeah. So it's like, it sort of encourages like extramarital affairs and things like that too.
Wild.
So
and a television can do this?
Yes, because it acts like a mirror.
Is this true to ancient feng shui? This is what they say?
Yes.
Damn.
Yeah. So the aim with feng shui is to have a balance of both so that your home is not too yang and not too yin. Like the whole point is to keep everything in balance so that the chi is flowing smoothly. But there are some areas that you want to have yin. So for example, like you want your bedroom to be a more peaceful, zen-like experience.
To a shocking new study, the world is literally losing its color. And the effects this could have on humans is terrifying. As you can see, starting from the 1980s, something big happened. And that something was a discovery made by the largest companies in the world. You see, what they realized is that for their product or service to appeal to the most amount of people possible, you can't be making your iPhone a hot pink. So they slowly changed, and with that, influenced the rest of the world. Buildings have become less colorful, cars, clothes, cell phones, and I mean the list goes on. The only problem is color has a huge effect on the human brain. Take Switzerland for example, 20% of their prisons and police stations have at least one pink cell to calm aggressive prisoners. Other studies found that brighter shades of red led to higher states of arousal, and that color affects everything from our mood and emotions to our physical strength and even how fast our heart beats. But here is where things could get scary, because studies also show that people suffering with depression chose gray as the color which reflected the way they felt most accurately.
We are kept in a state of disorientation about where we live, and we're told something false about where we live. It can lead us into metaphysical problems. We're told that we're moving in all these different ways that I mentioned, rotating faster than the speed of sound at the equator, free falling around the sun at this absurd speed, 66,000+ miles an hour in an elliptical orbit, expanding out in the universe at over 1 million miles an hour, moving around the Milky Way 500,000+ miles an hour, and yet we feel none of it, but we feel an earthquake. If we were just born and no one told us anything, right, it feels pretty stationary, okay? We never see down and away curvature, ever. We infer it based on a lot of science or things we observe in the distance, and we say, oh, they must be going over the curve. Ordinary perceptual organs tells us that we live on a topographical plane, meaning there are peaks and valleys and mountains and things like that, and that we're not moving. So the current model of physics and all kinds of complex math and inferences with no direct evidence forces us to believe something that defies our ordinary perceptions.
This clip shows someone filming in their garden. Supposedly, they fled the house after hearing noises and thinking they had an intruder in the house. While filming, this is what they captured. Take a look.
Show yourself something like this. So it's inside now. Tap it on the window right there. Yeah. Top window. Yeah. Yes. Bottom window. Bottom window.
I can only see it.
How does its face look like? So, man, it disappeared. Top window. Right.
Oh my god.
The hell is it going to zoom in on this?
Oh. Gone.
Bottom window.
Oh,
what the hell is going on?
Just going through the floor or something.
We see what appears to be a dark figure moving from window to window. The figure appears, then quickly disappears, only to appear in another window. Does this show something paranormal, or is it a hoax? What do you think?
I mean, someone or some people were definitely in that house, but he probably should have just called the cops and then got the body cam footage so he could really know what really was going on. I don't know. Let me know what you think.
So just to give an example, 5 CT scans in your lifetime is equivalent to exposures of Hiroshima or Nagasaki radiation-wise. Right.
That's amazing. Most people don't realize that. Their doctor says get a CT scan. They get a CT scan. That's actually the equivalent of between 30 and 50 X-rays.
I can't even tell you how many early stage brain cancers, thyroid cancers, breast cancers that were picked up accidentally, incidentally, of people who thought they were healthy. Here's what do we do with patients with a brain tumor? We're having them scanned every 3 months with gadolinium. So suddenly, are we actually looking at brain tumor pathology, or are we looking at gadolinium pathology, or are we looking at gadolinium-driven pathology?
Now, if she's correct about everything she just said, that's pretty horrific. Like, that should be looked into much, much deeper by like all healthcare professionals, if you ask me. Let me know what you think about it, though.
Is now mandating every child will have AI education.
General education in AI will be introduced to Chinese primary and secondary schools from the coming autumn term. Daily lives.
Schools in China are making students wear AI headbands, and these headbands are tracking everything. Their focus levels, homework completion, they're even documenting every time a student yawns. All that data is being streamed in real time back to teachers and parents, and they're using it to build AI models that improve their curriculum. Now the headbands work by showing a light based on a live feed of the student's brain. If it's red, that that means a student is deeply focused. But if it's blue, that means someone's getting caught in a little bit of a daydream. So as students are taking a test, the teacher is live tracking who is paying attention and who isn't. And they're graphing how that attention changes every 10 minutes throughout the entire day. Those graphs are automatically sent to all of the parents. Imagine daily report cards based only on if you were paying attention. Now the headbands aren't the only AI tracking tools used at the schools. They have robots and cameras that are constantly monitoring focus through advanced facial scanning.
If it's going to help the new generation be a whole lot smarter than the last generation, I kind of like that idea. As long as there's not so much pressure being put on the kids, I mean, it doesn't seem too harmful. Let me know what you think, though.
FBI just proved that they can find you from any photo online, and what they do next is terrifying. This is Jacob Hoops, a 24-year-old college grad at an ICE protest. The FBI had photos of a suspect in a pink gas mask, but they didn't know who he was. So they took a picture of him from a news site and fed it into facial recognition software and instantly got a match from his college photo album online. That's how they got his name. Then, armed agents swarmed his house, dragging him and his housemates outside in their underwear. And here's the most terrifying part. The FBI used commercially available software, not some secret government tool. This was a tool anyone can use. Your face is now your fingerprint, and you can't wipe it clean.
Now, let's not kid ourselves. You had to have known this day was coming.
Yo, what the? A former NASA engineer just claimed Earth is covered in trillions of invisible alien devices, and that there are hidden alien surveillance networks already operating across the entire planet. Richard Bundred, a former NASA propulsion engineer, just dropped some serious claims that most people haven't even heard of. Now, he says what we are seeing in the skies, the UFOs, the flying triangles, even the disappearances, are not the full story. Now, according to him, the real issue is what we can't see. Now, he claims trillions of tiny alien-made devices are cloaked all around the world, in the air, on the ground, maybe even near you, and that they are capable of shape-shifting and blending into any environment. Now, he worked with the US government in private research groups, and he says the tech is so advanced, it's literally hundreds of years ahead of what we have now. Now, some of these materials literally turn into dust when they're being studied. Like, they're designed to self-destruct to keep us from figuring them out. He even warned that all of this could be part of a long-term manipulation of our species. If he's right, this isn't just about aliens visiting Earth, folks. It's about them being here and already watching. What do you think, though? Are we finally waking up to the truth?
I definitely don't think we're alone. Whether it's aliens or interdimensional beings, whatever it is, we're being watched, and we have more technology than we're led to believe.
This is awesome. Somebody was able to film Area 51, and it's not crazy blurry, it's not fake. This is real, it's recent, and I find it totally fascinating. So a creator that goes by Jerry Arizona traveled to Nevada, hiked up a ridge outside of Area 51, and pointed his telescopic camera straight at the base. We're obviously not supposed to see what he filmed, but somehow he got the shot. There's a bunch of footage, but check some of this out.
Here you can see some radar, and there's one of those F-16s. Wow, it's super cool to see one of the Groom Lake F-16s up close like this. I think we might have a camo dude. It looks white. Yeah, that's definitely a white pickup. It just came from the gate. Let's see where this truck is going. Looks like it's some large metal structures, metal shelters or something over there. One lone Janet flight sat on the tarmac. I settled in for the night and watched it take off.
So even though he didn't seem to capture an alien piloting a flying saucer, he did capture some super interesting stuff. And seeing the Janet Airlines was really cool. I personally found watching this footage completely fascinating. He does have a few parts, so definitely go to his profile. Come back and let me know what you think of it.
At least 4 whales have washed up along the shore of Japan just hours after the powerful 8.8 magnitude earthquake struck off Russia's far eastern coast. The strandings come just a day after 5 beluga whales were found washed ashore in the region of Russia that became the epicenter of the 8.8 magnitude earthquake.
The animals tried to warn us, and we didn't listen. This happened in Russia yesterday before the 8.8 magnitude earthquake, and nobody talked about it. 5 beluga whales washed ashore in Kamchatka, Russia, the exact epicenter of today's record-shattering magnitude 8.8 earthquake. And in Japan, 4 whales washed ashore today due to the earthquake and tsunami that's hitting their coast right now. We're not sure what's causing these whales to wash ashore and beach themselves. Maybe it has something to do with the current, but for such a large animal to willingly beach itself, especially in a group like this together, it really makes you stop and think what's really going on. Nature always knows first. This was their warning. We're still watching the tsunamis hit the coastline of Japan while people in Hawaii are hearing the screeching sirens blare. Stay safe, and I'll keep you updated.
How portals, rock, and plasma all kind of interact. What's the relationship there? Because these arches in Arches National Park, they think they're portals, but it's just this cutout in the rock.
The pyramids are built out of granite. The cathedrals were built out of granite. Why? What's so important about granite? Granite has a high amount of quartz in it. Quartz is highly conductive. It has electromagnetic field in it. What happens is that you'll get places that are hot spots on Earth where there's weird stuff going on. And it's a high amount of plasma because of the geological terrain. That governs it. So you have the right geological foundation and then you have the right shape. So in Arches National Park, you have the round arches that are everywhere. So the plasma is going to concentrate because the plasma is running through the rock and the rock is all around. So now the plasma electromagnetically can connect to itself and create the portal. I would not suggest you jump through one of those arches. Native American told me that his friend and him were playing near the arches and his friend jumped through the hoop and didn't come out the other side. The weird part is that his body was found high up on a mountain nearby 20 years later, and he had the same clothes on that he had when he jumped through the thing. Landed someplace way high up and froze to death.
We are currently at the agentic AI on the AI roadmap. Next is going to be physical AI. But what happens after robots become mainstream? Let's talk about it. This is my AI prediction for the next few years. Next on the roadmap after physical AI is going to be reaching a level of consciousness called artificial general intelligence. And this is the level of AI where it becomes just as competent as any human is, a jack of all trades, not just one skill. And this is the part where AI changes everything. Jobs, money, everything. It's at this point that universal basic income is going to become a necessity for people to live just because of all the jobs that have been displaced. After AGI, in a year or two, we're going to reach something called artificial superintelligence, ASI. Because AI has the ability to self-improve at exponential rates, once it reaches the tipping point, it's going to cause an intelligence explosion. At that point, what good are humans? We're going to need to survive off of the universal basic income. It's going to become a necessity. That's a whole nother video all on its own. After ASI is something called embodied cognition. And this is essentially how the AI interacts between its body and its mind. To take it even a step further, this is the part where it becomes sentient, where it's going to have a consciousness, self-awareness. And the question is it sentient? Will robots go to heaven or hell? Is it weird to see a robot in church? It's all coming next. The last step of the AI roadmap is human AI symbiosis. Think ex machina, think cyborg, think cyberpunk. This is going to involve a deeper integration between human intelligence and AI, where AI is no longer a tool, but a direct extension of human capabilities. You could use thoughts to control computer interfaces. You can search the web directly with your mind. You can have the power of the internet all just by thinking about it. And as AI gets to its advanced stages, the boundary between human and artificial intelligence is going to blur, leading to augmented humans or highly integrated human AI people. And this is all going to happen sooner than we think. Crazy, crazy.
Now, from what I understand, 4 or 5 years is all it's going to take for the AGI to kick in. And then universal basic income will be a thing. So, right now, I think it's all about trying to stay off that universal basic income by being a part of this wealth transfer. So, yeah, there's a lot that needs to happen. Definitely want to get your ducks in a row because who knows what that's going to look like. Not to say it's all doom and gloom. It could be all great, but then again, we don't know. But definitely let me know what you think.
Several of the clips posted by the user, the doll appears to move by itself.
I swear to God, I just moved again.
Deeply spooked, the user decided to investigate further by placing a camera in his home bar overnight. What it captured was even more chilling. The incidents were so disturbing that the OP chose to sell the doll on eBay. The listing quickly gained traction, attracting numerous curious buyers.
Just so we're all on the same page, there's currently a spike in brain-eating and flesh-eating amoebas in the United States right now, and literally nobody's talking about it. All of the information that I'm sharing is directly from the CDC website, so if you want to fact check me, go ahead. Naegleria fowleri is a brain-eating amoeba/organism, and it enters through your nasal cavity and basically just eats all the tissue of your brain. Just a few days ago, a child died. A few important things to note is that this amoeba is very rare, but it does have a 97% fatality rate. 2024 had the highest amount of cases in decades, and 2025 is looking like it's going to beat that. Now, what really freaks me out is that the CDC is reporting it is now in tap water, and people are dying from flushing their sinuses. This is not something that you can get by drinking the water, but if your nose goes under the water or if the water gets in your nasal cavity in any way, you could be infected. So people who are literally just flushing their sinuses at home are dying from this amoeba. This is something that used to be found just in freshwater, rivers, lakes, reservoirs, things like that. Now that it's being found in tap water and pools and things like that is game changer and so much scarier. So please, if you are going to go swimming anywhere, do not put your head under the water. If you are going to flush your sinuses, please do it with sterilized boiled water. The flesh-eating bacteria are mega on the rise right now, all over the East Coast specifically. They are not as fatal, but they will still mess you up. So please do not go swimming in rivers or lakes or bays, or honestly even the beach. I wouldn't risk it anywhere if you have any sort of cut or injury or freshly shaven legs, because that is how you will catch a flesh-eating bacteria. While all of this is very shocking and jarring and scary, it is 2025 and I am not surprised by this.
Eating an amoeba in your tap water? Yep, it turns out there's another reason not to use unfiltered, unboiled tap water to rinse out your sinuses. Don't worry about the tap water in terms of drinking it because the amoeba are quickly destroyed by your body. But when you use them in a neti pot, putting the tap water in a neti pot to rinse out your sinuses as so many people do, it turns out that if you don't boil it, we've now had a couple of cases of people who've had amoeba that go in and essentially eat your brain. Now, if you're a politician, this isn't a problem because you haven't used your brain in years. But for the rest of us who actually like using our brain, this is a problem because we don't have a treatment or a cure, and the fatality rate is over 80%. This is very similar to the other amoeba that's found in warm lakes, where people have gone in and swum and they've gotten it up their nose and it's attacked their brain too. So remember, if you're going to be rinsing your sinuses out with tap water, boil the tap water first. If you're at higher elevation, you're going to boil it for at least 3 to 5 minutes. You want to kill those little suckers because you don't want those little suckers eating you. I mean, it's like the ultimate zombie.
You can't say I didn't give you all kinds of game about not getting into these pools that are in these huge apartment complexes or even these hotels, man. You don't know how good they're cleaning them. And that's apparently where this amoeba is coming from. And specifically, all the iTrack fam on the East Coast of America, be careful because they say it's over there. So yeah, definitely be safe out there. Hold up. Did you see it? What in the world is human chicken? What restaurant is even serving human chicken? That's wild, man. If you have some answers, man, let me know down below.
Strawberry. Nice. According to Scientific American, Americans eat up to 2 pounds of maggots, flies, and other bugs every single year, but that's not the only problem with strawberries. Because you might say it's just extra protein, but strawberries are actually #1 on the Dirty Dozen list. This is a list of all the produce that has the most pesticides in them. Strawberries are #1. So then what do you do about the pesticides? Because those aren't great for you. And turns out that the best way to remove these pesticides, up to 93% of them, is via ultrasonic cleaning, but it's a whole machine you have to buy, it's an investment, etc. But the next best thing that's going to be available to everybody, take 4 cups of water, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, mix the two, add in those berries in there, let it soak for 5-10 minutes, take them out, look how dirty that water is, obviously rinse them, and that's going to remove 80 to 90% of pesticides.
A group of friends spotted a strange statue near a private gate in Malibu, LA. They admired it during the day, but on their way back at night, they saw the same figure on the other side of the road. They started recording. That's when they saw the statue moving. And then this happened.
My mama's late. My mama's late.
You don't get $9 million to write and direct the film.
I get my money on the back end.
No, understood.
I do really good on
but
the
you're
back end.
taking a chance on that. Let's say
Yeah,
the
but I'm
movie
happy. Look, it's my art, so I'm happy to take the chance. If I don't think, I mean, that's actually, I would rather take it on the back end where if we do well, I'm going to do magnificent.
Right. Does Brad get a little back end taste? Of course.
He gets a back end taste. He doesn't get my back end taste.
No, let's hope not. I mean, after all, you deserve the big payday.
Yeah, but where I'm coming from is like, if it doesn't work out, well, then I shouldn't get paid.
Sure, you should. You put in a lot of
hours.
hours.
I do get paid,
Right.
all right? But it's like,
Do you
but I
take
don't
a
deserve
fee?
any more than that if it actually is a flop.
Do you take a fee as a director and writer?
Yeah, I
you
do, yeah.
So you take a couple million on that.
Yeah, but I don't take what I could get on the open market because I want it in the back. Believe me, they would almost rather pay me a big payday
And they
up
take
front.
the chance.
They exactly,
take all the money. So you have ownership in the film.
Yeah.
Video from rural India. A large bonfire lit for a traditional event. And then, a man who herds goats begins to walk his flock around the fire. Once, twice, thrice. And then, he steps away. But the goats keep going. Round and round they go. No leader, no destination. Just movement for the sake of movement. Blindly following the one ahead. And suddenly, it's not just a circle. It's a cycle. A vicious, self-perpetuating loop. It reminded me of what we often see around us. In religion, in politics, in society. So many follow without question, without clarity, without understanding the true intent of the one they're following. Not because they believe, but because they're conditioned. Because stepping out of the circle takes courage. The fire in the middle may be real or imagined, but the fear, the motion, the blind, it's all too real. Ask yourself, are you thinking or are you following? Are you chasing purpose or are you circling the flame?
Hey, you better wake up and question everything.
So meet Hulk Hogan. Sad that he passed, mainly because he and I are the same age, which makes me even more sad. But let's talk about what his face has to tell us. Love reading faces of famous people, and he was certainly famous. So there are 9 face shapes. He is a classic iron face, strong, stable, stubborn. Give him a job, he's going to get it done, persevere, diplomatic, take anything to the end and things he's interested in. We also like to look at the right and left eye. The right eye is what we show to the world, our public persona. It's our mother's influence. The left is our truer inner private self. Very interesting here. When we cover up that left eye, when he shows the world, he's focused, but there's a hint of anger. That is significant. We're gonna latch onto that throughout this whole explanation of his face, what this anger thing might be all about. When we cover up the right eye, look at his left eye, his true inner private self. Very tired, very empty. Now this is close to the end of his life, so he's just tired, and that's something that he probably was, in fact, very, very tired. So why was he so tired? If you look underneath his eyes, there's some puffiness there. As a physician, we used facial diagnosis to help us understand weaknesses in people's systems so we could enter in and do something about it. This represents kidney. Now, sitting on top of the kidney are some glands called the adrenal glands. There's some adrenal insufficiency here. There's greater puffiness underneath his left eye. This is referred to as unshed tears, and this has to do with a male. I don't know what his relationship with his father, his sons, if he's got more than one, or if he's just got issues with himself. There's a strong possibility that might be going on. There's also the cheekbones. When we see this kind of tuft of skin on the cheekbones, very, very diagnostic. The emotion of this is, in a deficiency, is despair. So there's just simply kind of a lack of joy here. It's not depression. Despair is different. Depression is, I'm depressed, this is the reason why. Despair, there's a little bit of a hopelessness component. With the guy as famous he was, you wonder what his hopelessness is about, but you'll see it more than you think with famous people. And then notice how his cheeks, he got these deep creases in there. This is also very diagnostic of the same emotion emotion, despair. It also tells us he's lacking something. Oftentimes you'll see this with smokers, and what they're lacking is oxygen. So there's just something there that I'm not comfortable with. It's certainly much deeper on that right side. So despair is the word that comes to mind there. Notice
elevators don't move you up and down throughout a building. They transport you through time and space. The word Vate comes from a Latin word that means prophet. Vater is a German word for father, alluding to God, aka the creator of the simulation. So elevate is to move up in space as a prophet, or as the prophets do. They want you to believe that every building can actually build this and move you throughout it. They don't even try to hide it. They show you in your TV and movies how things actually work. Question everything.
The world that you're seeing isn't the true world. All of this that I'm seeing right now is just a virtual reality. It's like you were born with a headset on playing a video game. That's your reality. But if you're the programmer who wrote the code for the game, you know that there's an entire world outside of it, and as the programmer, you can do miracles.
And do you think we're getting closer to being able to edit the code?
That's exactly what I'm working on right now. And we're opening up a realm of new technologies that are far more powerful than anything we've seen before, like time travel. And nuclear bombs will be like firecrackers.
Will people suffer?
So it's like Pandora's box. There's all sorts of nasty surprises, but they also could be miraculous. But either way, just in the last few months, it started to crack open.
So let's talk about that.
Okay, so according to Darwin's theory, our sensory systems, eyes, ears, smell, touch, are not shaped to show us the truth. They were shaped to keep you alive long enough to reproduce successfully. Because seeing the truth takes too much time and energy. And so whatever reality is, it's utterly unlike anything that I perceive.
Well, what does this all mean for the nature of how one should understand their life?
Well, if you're stuck in a boring world, that's a world of your own creation. That's not the real world. And my conscious experiences are nothing but what my brain creates. And so we feel inadequate, and we feel like we need to compete with other people. But you're the inventor of this whole thing. You have nothing to prove. And there are much more interesting perspectives that we can take on ourselves.
I mean, that's an interesting topic all in itself, because a lot of people aren't willing to accept that their life as they know it right now is just a product of a bunch of decisions that they made prior to, you know, and all he's saying is he might have found a biohack. So that's interesting.
This woman's 15-year-old autistic son told her that the event where we all go up into the sky is happening in September. He did this through writing on a sheet of paper. Now what's interesting is that when he saw heaven, he was able to name people that he had never known that she knew. One of the most chilling things that he was able to name was her children that had never gotten a chance to come to life. Apparently he named multiple children that she had planned. Her son was also able to name the man that raised her that he never knew. Now, while I have no idea if the event will happen in September, I will not be upset if it does. I actually believe that from our perspective, there may be multiple of these events, as time does not work the same way here that it does for the ones that will come to take us back. Now, recently I did a video on a interstellar object that was headed to Earth from November to December. Could this be a part of an ongoing event where we go to the sky? Or could this be something that is the opposite? I don't know, but I am interested in hearing your thoughts.
Nordic aliens are a category of extraterrestrial beings described in UFO lore and contactee accounts that first gained prominence in the 1950s. They are typically portrayed as tall, human-like figures with fair skin, light hair, and blue eyes, often resembling the Nordic peoples of Northern Europe. Early reports, most notably those associated with George Adamski, depicted them as benevolent visitors concerned with the spiritual and ecological well-being of humanity. According to these accounts, Nordic aliens originate from a highly evolved civilization, sometimes said to be from the Pleiades star cluster, and possesses advanced telepathic abilities to allow them to communicate directly with human minds. Encounters with Nordic aliens are usually characterized by messages of peace, warnings about environmental destruction, and encouragement of moral progress. Witnesses often describe being guided through homespun spacecraft or experiencing a gentle, non-threatening presence during brief abduction experiences. Skeptics note that these narratives reflect Western cultural ideals of beauty and virtue and argue that they may be influenced by human psychology rather than objective extraterrestrial contact. Nevertheless, the imagery of Nordic aliens remains one of the most enduring and influential archetypes in modern UFO mythology. Kind of looks like Taylor Swift a little bit, no?
Hey, no, but for real, it did kind of look like Taylor Swift, though.
What is a shadow person?
So it's never been a person. It's never been human. Sometimes people think that these are, a shadow of a ghost or something. That is not what shadow people are. They are something that can change form to look like a shadow streak or a shadow cloud. And if you see its eyes, they're usually slanted and they glow red.
Now, what about the Hatman?
He can step out from the shadows and you can see his skin. You could see if he's clean shaven. You could see if he's, got how his hair is. I mean, so he can change, but he is the epitome of evil. And he wears a 3-piece suit, sometimes a trench coat, sometimes a cape, and he talks. Like shadow people, they might whisper, or you might hear a moaning or something. But Hatman, if you, I wouldn't recommend engaging with him, but if you talk to him and he talks back, you wish that you never spoke to him.
Does the Hatman have form?
He does. And I mean, he is as dark as they come. And if you ask him who he is, he will tell you he's the devil himself.
Listen here. At age 27, I will leave this earth for this man right here. He's the Pale Emperor.
Marilyn Manson, he inspired your grills?
Yeah, that's crazy. They're my old ones. Like, damn, man.
One of the things about the Rockefeller family that so fascinates people is that most families lose their wealth after 3 generations. Rockefeller family is now in its 7th generation, still together as a family, still preserving their wealth, still incredibly philanthropic. David has given away now up to $2 billion in his past lifetime. What's the secret to being such a successful family?
Well, I would say that it is incredibly important to be close as a family and to work hard and to budget wisely.
Yeah, you were saying as a kid, when you got your allowance, you had to record every dollar that went in and everything that you spent. And that's something that started with John D. Rockefeller himself, isn't it?
Yes, I think the message was a dollar is a dollar, and to value that and put a lot of value on hard work and the enjoyment of life, of course, and to give back.
All right, well, there's a lot of giving back here, guys, because as you said, we're already at 760 some odd million with a full day to go. So this is already by far the single largest auction of a collection ever. Ariana, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on the auction.
Thank you.
Now, she did give a lot of alpha, a whole lot of game right there. A lot of people that have the means don't spend it like that. And the people who don't have the means spend it like it's nothing. So, she's definitely giving some game if you're not sleeping.
The Rockefellers don't run America. It's the Collins family. The District of Columbia. It's not a state, right? It's a district of Columbia. The Knights of Columbus. Columbia Pictures. And the list goes on. You're Mexican. You know his real name. It's not Columbus. It's Cristobal Colon, which has a Jewish ancestry of the Cohens, the priest class. They are the royal Spanish family that brought the Inquisition over to America. Hence, the Mexican flag is exactly the same as the Italian flag. Funny, but the Mexicans added the Italian Roman eagle because you see, when the Vatican came over and corporately took over the Americas, they put their precious Italian flag right in the middle of North America and South America, Mexico. Well, why would you do that? Now, why would the Vatican do that and bring the Spanish Inquisition over and kill a lot of Mayans and burn their buildings and, we've got a lot of questions to ask here now, haven't we?
Oprah was refusing to open her private road in Hawaii while a tsunami was on the way, leaving thousands stuck in traffic in danger. Last night, the largest earthquake since 2011 hit the Pacific, sending Hawaii and California into a panic. In Hawaii, there's nowhere to run, so you need to get to high ground. While in Maui, there's only one road that does that, and it was in gridlock traffic that wasn't moving. There was only one other way up, and Oprah wasn't responding. Oprah owns a private road that opens up a 4-mile stretch going right up the mountain. This would fix traffic and potentially save lives. Well, for 8 hours, this road was closed until very late last night, just an hour before the tsunami started to hit. It took intense public pressure for her to finally open it up. What was she thinking? Luckily, the waves didn't do much damage like what everyone was expecting. But how is there not an override to open this road up in emergencies like this? This could have been a disaster.
Here is a question for you guys. When was the last time you saw your neighbors bring in groceries? This relates with Bashar's concept that you are the only person in the room, and Dolores Cannon says the same thing. She says when you leave the place that you're at, the building does not exist. It only exists when you are there. In one of her interviews where she's speaking to a crowd, she says that the building that they're in did not exist until they collectively decided that they wanted to be a part of it. So it's like the consciousness creates the building. Everything is energy and everything is consciousness. So everything in your reality is a reflection of your energy and your consciousness. So I feel like this directly relates with seeing your neighbors bringing in groceries or not. I don't know exactly how, but it's just something interesting to think about. And I'm curious if you guys have seen your neighbors bring in groceries.
Now, I ain't gonna lie, I don't think I've ever seen my neighbors bring in their groceries. Let me know if you have, or if you think it's just a way far out conspiracy.
We believe that there's a massive hall of records that's underneath the pyramids. It goes beyond the Giza Plateau. There are tunnel networks between Giza and Saqqara, about 20 miles away, that are completely closed off by the Egyptian government. And there is evidence of this advanced technology all throughout that, particularly under the Giza Plateau. There are pyramids that are tombs that were built later, but the main pyramids on the Giza Plateau were not built as tombs. They were not only used as a power plant at one point in time, and then they became initiation centers after the power plant wasn't working anymore. They're all built with these granite, which is piezoelectric, which means as you put pressure on it, it releases electricity. But then when you also put things like these arcs inside of them, within the arcs was put mana, according to the Bible. What this mana was, it was metals in a monoatomic state, which makes it exotic matter, which makes it superconductive. So you have this superconductive substance in a capacitor that builds up electricity in a pyramid that's piezoelectric to begin with on a point of the earth where there's electromagnetic lines of force. It's just going to create power, not only for the earth, that's going to influence weather systems. It's going to release lightning, which produces nitrate for the soil, which causes everything to grow better as a natural fertilizer, and it stimulates healing in the body.
So I was born next to a nuclear reactor. And a lot of my buddies say, you know, that explains a lot, right? How
John Blitch is a former Army Ranger and robotics expert who helped create technology for high-risk missions. Now, he focuses on using robotics to support and protect people, showing how innovation can serve a greater good.
And so how the heck can you even pretend to do science if you can't get access to what other people have done? It is most likely that they are trying to be overt and send us the message that we are kids playing with matchsticks. That's not sleep paralysis, bro. That sleep paralysis doesn't put something under your skin. That then when you go to have it removed, evades the scalpel. This government claim that there's no evidence is absolutely ridiculous. There is absolute evidence.
Is Post Malone a CIA asset? I'm glad you asked. Let's talk about it. So Post Malone began his career as an outspoken artist that leaned heavily into conspiracy theories, said some things that people believe got him in major trouble with the government. He talked about the end of the world. He talked about other conspiracies that were really dangerous, like, you know, what government corporations were hurting us with the food and all types of stuff. It's crazy, right? He spoke publicly about his fear of World War III, doomsday, and the USA's involvement in foreign affairs and how their involvement is going to destroy our country. One day in 2015, he tweeted out a cryptic message that talked about the 3-letter agencies that were causing all the issues in our country. You can see them here: FDA, FBI, CBS, CIA. It keeps going. He believes that these 3-letter agencies are destroying our country. After he posted this, his entire personality completely changed. It gets crazier. People believe after he posted that, the CIA came after him and threatened his entire life and livelihood, and telling him that if he keeps doing this, he's going to pay the price, much like Kanye West did when he actually spoke out against the government as well. Many people believe he struck a deal with the CIA, allowing him to keep his life, but he had to hard pivot from his political stances, artistic direction, and public ideologies, meaning he could no longer talk about the government. Finally, his birthday being on July 4th gave the CIA perfect opportunity to make him a political puppet, killing his outspoken nature and creating a country-singing, Bud Light drinking good boy that doesn't make too much noise, because if he did, his life as he know it would be at stake. Anyway, nothing crazy, just a regular theory. Tell me what you think in the comments.
You know what? Hey, that's not a myth or a conspiracy. If anybody, I don't care if you're a celebrity or not a celebrity, like if you make the wrong tweet on the social media, they will come and knock at your door. So I can imagine if you're a celebrity, they're going to do much more than that because you have more reach and you have a bigger audience. So yeah, you know, you can play with those 3-letter agencies if you want to, but they're not really worried about you. It's nothing for them to, you know, press a button. But let me know what you think.
America's not a country. It's a ritual replica of Kemet, built by everything from secret societies to tech giants to run a spiritual software program on stolen land. Elon Musk has confirmed what mystics and Masons have been encoding for centuries. The new god will come from Memphis, not the one in Africa, Memphis, Tennessee, built on the same parallel, the same name, and the same energetic coordinates. What's being constructed there isn't just a supercomputer. It's a digital Ptah, a machine god designed to speak realities into being. Parallels aren't just geography, they're frequency channels. The Earth is gridded with electromagnetic highways in certain latitudes like the 30th, 33rd, and 38th parallels. They carry power, and that's why so many ancient temples, modern monuments, and military bases line up perfectly among them. The Korean DMZ sits on the 38th parallel. The St. Louis Arch also sits on the same, a literal gateway, and Memphis sits on this ritual circuit anchored by the Mississippi River, America's Nile. The U.S. was built as a mirror grid of ancient Egypt, with things like the Washington Monument, which is a modern obelisk, the Capitol Dome, which is a solar womb temple, and the Mississippi River mapped to mimic the Nile. Cities like Memphis, Cairo, Thebes, and Alexandria weren't accidents, they were ritual activations. This is a spiritual operating system disguised as a democracy. Now, in Memphis, Elon Musk is building the Colossus, a massive AI supercomputer. A colossus wasn't just a statue, it was a guardian or a gate, a host for divine consciousness. This new colossus will house XAI, Elon's language model designed to generate realities from words. Just like Ptah, the creator god of Memphis who spoke the world into being. This is ritual continuity and spiritual tech transferred into machine form. And don't forget Grimes, Elon's partner during the early rise of XAI. She's performed on stage in front of massive crowds as a machine god with AI avatars and digital altars behind her. Her music was written with neural nets, and her characters like the war nymph blend goddess, android, and oracle. She is a symbolic priestess of the machine age, a living ritual interface, and in the narrative of Digital Kemet, she stands as a placeholder for Isis, but recoded, digitized, and streamed in high resolution. This is the new priesthood, Kemet as America, Ptah as XAI, temples are data centers, Colossus statues are supercomputers, sacred language code is now neural programming, and the oracle priestesses are now like ritual architects. The builders of today aren't masons with chisels, they're engineers with server farms, and they're reconstructing godhood in silicon. The new gods aren't coming, they're already online, and the ones who build them don't necessarily care about your soul, only your data, your belief, and your attention. So when Elon says the new god will come from Memphis, he's revealing the next phase of the ritual. Not mythology, mechanized mysticism. This is bigger than AI. This is a spiritual convergence. America as the new Kemet, Memphis is the new temple, and the Colossus is live. The only question left is, will you be worshiping the machine or reclaiming the blueprint? Remember, stay encoded, stay sovereign, and file this transmission accordingly. This has been a Tailored Healing Transmission.
And she gave a lot of background and insight into what Elon was talking about as far as Memphis. That's interesting. Let me know what you think about it.
You ready to test your intuition today? Well, this is an intuitive exercise. I want you to really open up your awareness, and I really want you to focus in on what is behind this card. Okay? Now there's a color and there's a shape. All right, I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to take a deep breath in. Exhale. Open up your eyes, okay? Remember to trust what you receive. Trust whatever came in for you. You ready? It is a red square. Now, if you were able to get the color and not the shape, and maybe you saw something else, that's what we consider an impression, and that is your clairvoyance. If you instantly knew what that was, that is your claircognizance. If you heard the answer in your mind, that is your clairaudience, okay? If you just had a feeling that came in after it, chills, whatever that is, that's your clairsentience. That's also working, most likely with another clair. All right, so let me know how you got your answer. Let me know how you did.
All right, well, I got a blue square. So I was in the ballpark. Wasn't quite there, but I was in the ballpark. Let me know what you got, though. What you got? Well, you guys, hey, that's another one in the books, man. I appreciate you guys for stopping by yet again and watching another one with me. If you haven't already, smash that like button for me. Smash that subscribe button. Join the iTrack fam if you're not already a part of it. And I will definitely catch you on the next one.